everyone, welcome to Fireside Chirps. We have a special guest today, Executive Director of the Delaware River Basin Commission, Steve Tambini. But first off, we'd like to kick it off with some introductions and a question. It was a gorgeous weekend outside this past weekend, and we'd love to know how we all enjoyed the weather. So, Drew, why don't you kick it off?
Sure. Hi, Drew Tompkins, Director of Policy with New Jersey Audubon's Government Relations Department. And I got through the weekend by golfing a bunch. I got out both Saturday and Sunday, some nice early morning tee times. And then for the rest of the days, did a little bit of reading on my patio out in the sun. So it was a really nice weekend, nice, relaxing, beautiful weekend.
Excellent. And Steve?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm Steve Tambini. I'm the Executive Director of the DRBC. It was a lovely weekend. I was a little bit worried about our beaches being closed because we do spend a lot of time at the Jersey Shore. Our favorite beach is Ocean City. So we did get down there this weekend. You can't tell, but I spent a little bit too much time in the sun enjoying the beaches safely and physically distancing from other people who are enjoying the beach. But it was a wonderful weekend to spend at the shore. Came back yesterday and did a little bit of gardening as well. So tried to get outside as much as possible.
Excellent. And I'm Sandra Miola. I'm the Director of the Coalition for the Delaware River Watershed, housed within New Jersey Audubon's Government Relations Department. And I did the same. I went to the beach really early on Saturday. I went to Bradley Beach, which is about 20 minutes from my house, and it was heavenly. My fiance and I had pork or egg and cheese sandwiches on the beach, and it was perfect. And then yesterday I ended up taking a little road trip up to see my parents in a physically distanced, safe way, and visited them and brought them some food. And I fried as well. I can't really tell, but I am hurting. But the fresh air and the sun was really wonderful. So, all right, great. Well, thanks everyone for the introduction. So I'd like to pass it off to Drew for some updates on the state and federal level.
Thanks so much, Sandra. Yeah, so as we like to do, we like to keep this light and bring you some fresh information, but we do like to keep you updated on what's happening, especially with everything surrounding the COVID-19 outbreak. So just wanted to give you a couple quick updates, both at the state and federal level. In New Jersey, we wanted to make sure that everybody knows that our beaches are going to be open for Memorial Day, and they were open this past weekend, at least some of them were. As both Sandra and Steve mentioned, they got down to the shore this weekend. And we're all, of course, excited for this. It's exciting to have our beaches open for the summer, but just want to remind everybody to be safe out there, practice social distancing. And, if you're going to be with anybody, make sure you're with people that are from your household, and otherwise stay away from people so that we can continue to enjoy the great resource that we have in our beaches for the entire summer. So that's the state update. With regards to the federal update, some of you may have seen that the end of last week, the House Democrats passed a $3 trillion stimulus bill. We're not expecting this bill to become law. It's kind of been put down and mentioned as a marker bill with some of the priorities that the House Democrats want to see in the next stimulus bill, but the Senate has not decided to take it up yet. And so there's going to be negotiation happening, but just so people know, there's another direct payment to individuals in there. There is relief for hospitals, and importantly, for places like New Jersey, there's a bunch of state money that's in that bill, which is going to be necessary as we look towards the state budget and a very large hole that's been blown into it by the closures that we've had and just generally the economic downturn that's been caused by COVID. So we'll see where it goes from here, and we'll be sure to keep you updated, but just wanted to let you know that there has been some movement there. So now that we got the serious stuff out of the way, I guess this is also a serious thing, but we're going to turn it over to Steve to talk about the DRBC and some of the work that they've been doing.
Thanks, Drew. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on. Yeah, let me give you an update about what we've been doing over the past couple of months. It seems like time is a different concept these days, but we've been in work from home mode since about the middle of March. And I do want to say a couple of things. I definitely want to thank our staff for how they've transitioned to the new I don't know if this is the new normal or at least the transitional normal, but I could say that we had, while we were planning, doing a lot of planning related to this, the transition was relatively swift, and our staff has been great in terms of doing work from home. And that's what we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of work, keeping busy. And luckily, let me say this as well. Again, I have to thank staff for everything they do constantly to manage, protect, and improve the resources of the Delaware Basin. But they've been healthy as well, and that's a blessing. So we've been lucky to have not a lot of impact from the virus in terms of staff being impacted. So that's kept us on track, and it's kept our work, our important work, continuing. And it's also taught us a lot of things as well. It's just amazing that I think we're going to learn a lot about how we work and how we're going to work differently going forward. Like I said, we've been in work from home mode since about mid-March and really been doing it fairly effectively and efficiently. I've told Sandra that I'll try and keep it light and fun. I'm not sure that I was the first choice for the light and fun mode, but I do want to get at least talk a little bit about some of the things we've been doing. To some degree, it's been a different business as usual, but it's been business as usual. And I'll give you a couple of examples. We have advisory committees that advise the commission on a lot of different things. And one of the first ones we had was our Water Quality Advisory Committee. Typically, we have those in our office, and maybe we get a good crowd, I'll say that. Maybe we get 30 or 40 people. We had one remotely a couple of weeks ago, and we had over 80 participants. So that, again, it gets us thinking about, okay, should we be thinking about the future? Yes, we're still going to look to get together again and hopefully get face-to-face and, again, figure out a way to do that in a safe way. But as we think about the future, perhaps we do need to outreach further and make sure that people have an opportunity to attend in different ways. And this has opened our eyes a little bit and said, okay, we can get 80 people to come and listen to, in this case, listen to how we're looking at changing the aquatic life usage designation in the estuary. We got a lot of input on recreational uses at this Water Quality Advisory Committee. So it's an opportunity to use technology in a different way. And I think, it's beginning to teach us a new way to operate. We had a Regulated Flow Advisory Committee meeting not too long ago. We had a public hearing last week. Again, this one happened to be via telephone, 1-800 number. And our commission meeting is scheduled for June. And we're going to be holding that remotely as well with the public. So again, not necessarily preferred way to do it, but certainly, we're learning different ways and adapting. Again, it's been a bit of business as usual. We haven't canceled a whole lot of activities. One thing that we have put on hold for a while is our fieldwork, our water quality monitoring. I'll say this, that we are examining different ways to safely get back in the field and looking at plans to resume that work, perhaps even before we resume going back to the office. But other than that, it's been business as usual. We've had environmental justice training conducted. We celebrated Earth Day. Again, we were hoping to celebrate Earth Day with some outreach and like others go out in the field. We did a fun thing with a Zoom collage, which I can tell you is not easy to do because you don't really know where you're going to end up when you open that Zoom, and it takes a little bit of coordination. So again, staff is talented, staff is creative, and staff works hard, whether they're in the office or whether they're outside the office, and they continue to do good work. Like I said, for the most part, it's been continuing the mission in a different way, and we'll continue to adapt and learn from it, and hopefully at some point return to work safely.
Excellent. I'm really glad you guys have been able to continue the mission and all your staff are safe and healthy as well. I'm curious if you could tell the folks watching and listening the scope of the Climate Advisory Committee. We're particularly interested in that within the Coalition for the Delaware River Watershed, and I know New Jersey Audubon has a lot of interest in that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I mentioned advisory committees, and we have about 6, I think, standing advisory committees, and all of them in one way, shape, or form are probably thinking about climate change, but we decided that, we really need to look at this issue broadly. I guess at one point, Sandra, I threatened to read the compact to you. I do have my compact here, but
oh no.
I won't read it to you, but I will say that when you look at, the compact in 1961, they probably didn't think a whole lot about climate change, but they did think about things like resiliency and water supply, and is there going to be enough? And there's new ways we have to think about that, and the climate's one of them. So we did, and the commissioners passed a resolution to form a advisory committee on climate change. We are so fortunate in this basin to have the resources that we have, because the reaction we got to the request for membership was extraordinary. We announced a couple of weeks ago who the committee members are, and we got representation, a lot of good representation, a lot of outreach was done to academia. So we have representation from University of Pennsylvania, Columbia, Rutgers, University of Delaware, Academy of Natural Sciences at Drexel University. We've also got representation from other important stakeholders, certainly all the government agencies, DEP, all the DEPs, all the state agencies. We've got representation from NOAA at the federal level and the National Park Service. PDE is a representative, New York City's a representative, Philadelphia Water Department's a representative. We also got input and members from business, Exelon, I think Audubon, Pennsylvania is a member, and American Water as well. So we've got this really wealth of expertise that are going to be providing input and advice and guidance on climate change. So the wrinkle to this whole thing is that we really wanted to kick this meeting off of the first meeting of the Advisory Committee on Climate Change face-to-face. And that doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. So I think we'll be transitioning to a remote meeting. We thought, number one, that the committee should get together in person, but looks like we're going to have to adapt. And that's okay, and we'll do that. Like I said, all our committee meetings are open to the public, and we expect that the public's going to have a lot of interest in this. And they should, because it impacts a lot of what's going on in the Delaware River Basin. So we'll make sure that even if we have an advisory committee meeting remotely, that'll be open to the public, and listen for more about that in the upcoming months.
Excellent. Yeah, and we're happy to share that information once it's live. Great.
I think it's really exciting, all the work that you guys are doing, and the fact that you've been able to adjust to, as you mentioned, the new normal, and also, of course, that your staff is all healthy, which is a positive. Same thing, here on our end, we're excited about that as well. So yeah, it's been really great, and exciting to hear about the work you guys are doing, especially with that climate change initiative.
Yeah, not only do we have a climate committee, but we've got people that are working on it, and the modeling is continuing. Again, when you think about water resource management in the basin, I know there's a lot of focus, and there should be a lot of focus on water quality, but government sometimes, and we are government, has to think about that 1 in 100 event, or that next drought that nobody really wants to think about. The last big drought was several years ago, and most people don't remember. But people in government need to plan for that. And back when the commission was formed in 1961, probably the thing they were thinking about was, okay, how's the water supply going to be kept up in the future? They were expecting this tremendous growth in water demand. That didn't pan out because a lot of things happened, efficiencies, metering of water, but what has happened in the meantime is we know that sea level is rising, and we know that the climate's going to impact precipitation and temperature, and we know that's going to have an impact on the water cycle. So those are the things that we're looking at deeply, and that modeling is continuing all remotely. The work teams are getting together continuously on that matter, and we're going to continue to make sure that we're focused on managing and protecting and improving the resources of the basin, and that work's continuing with these type of meetings. Although I'll tell you that people probably get a little fatigued with these type of meetings, but that's where we are for now.
I hear that. It's I've heard the word zoomed out more and more over the past couple of weeks. So
yes.
Yeah.
We sort of, it's, again, everything's learning. We sort of started out at first making sure that people were connected. I won't say constantly, but a lot. And I know personally I've backed off a bit because we've gotten some feedback that, hey, we need some time to work, not just have staff meetings. And, we have some fun stuff that we do as well. We set up a lunchroom chat where people can just go in and Really, it's like going to the lunchroom and not talk business and talk about, we've got a meteorologist on the staff, so we give him grief about the weather all the time. Or if there's a mind teaser of the day, someone will post it up. So trying to make sure that we stay connected, but not overload people with constant Zoom meetings, or in our case, Teams meetings.
Steve, I know you were notified, and a lot of other watershed folks were really excited about American Rivers posting that the Delaware River was voted the America's River of the Year this year. So we're super excited about that, and really showcases the importance of the resources that we're hopefully going to enjoy for generations to come, and just illuminates the fact that they really need to be protected in perpetuity. So do you want to speak a little bit to that?
Sure. We were really excited to get that notification, didn't know it was coming, and clearly it's not a DRBC, the award didn't come to DRBC, it came to the river. So the credit and the credit goes all over the place, including the coalition's done a wonderful job of making sure that the people throughout the watershed understand what's going on at the Delaware River. So, but one of the reasons that it did get River of the Year was because the Delaware River at one point was heavily polluted, and it's been restored because of a lot of the work of a lot of different folks, including DRBC. DRBC is certainly proud of our history of taking the lead on the interstate waters and making sure that the DRBC developed a plan that was used to be implemented under the Clean Water Act. And that's really resulted in a measurable, significant improvement in water quality, especially to the urbanized portions of the river. There's more work to be done, we know that. But the recognition that came through the River of the Year, I think, is really important to raise the awareness, not only of the work that's been done and the significant achievements that we can all share in celebration of, but the fact that there is more work to be done, and collectively, if we work together, I'm very confident that we'll continue to make improvements in the resiliency and the quality of the basin's water resources.
Excellent. So Steve, for our last question for you, one of the things we'd like to ask our guests is, what are you chatting with your coworkers about on, maybe Zoom meetings that have gone just a little too long?
Well, let me say this, they're probably chatting about me. So like I said earlier, I think we're trying to be a little more reasonable about how many Zoom meetings we have. In fact, our normal platform is Teams, so we have used Zoom occasionally for all Teams meetings, and I'll admit this, that we didn't buy the upgraded version, so it had the 40-minute limit, and we said, look, folks, we have to get this done in 40 minutes, and the feedback I got back was, can all our meetings be 40 minutes, even when we get back to the office? So, again, usually it's probably me that people are DMing about. I will say this, I was on a steering committee meeting for PDE not too long ago, and my work companion, my dog, sort of nudged me at the end of that meeting, and I think got on camera. So that meeting may have gone a little bit too long, and maybe I invited her to say hello. So
I will say that's one of the best things about all these video chats, are seeing everybody's animals joining the calls.
Yeah, I'm sure she's waiting right outside my door here.
What kind of dog do you have?
Yellow lab.
Oh, very nice.
The best. Very sweet. Oh, all right. Well, thanks, Steve. It was really wonderful to talk to you and hear about a lot of what DRBC is doing amidst this transition of new normal, however we're gonna dub it. But we'll be sure to keep coordinating on New Jersey Audubon and the coalition's end with you folks, and wish you the best, and stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you for the invite, and thanks for all the work that you do for the Delaware as well. Thank you.
We'll
Thanks,
see you
Steve.
next time on Fireside Chirps.